let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
Red, how are you?
Oh, I'm horrible.
Mr. Red?
There seems to be a recurring issue here. Anger! Am I a passionate bird?
Oh.
Yes, but why does it matter that we're not the same?
Hello. This is Adolf Vega from 3D or 2D.com, and today I'm reviewing the Angry Birds movie. As always on 3D or 2D.com reviews, I'll talk about the 3D element first. So the Angry Birds movie has pretty much an enjoyable 3D experience, but it's not necessary. They use 3D mostly to pop out and have gimmicky stuff fly at you or come out of the screen. And, it gives, whenever they use depth, it's actually pretty decently done. There isn't any specific scene that really grabbed my attention, but it all overall looked very sharp and vivid and, looked good in 3D. It wasn't anything amazing or dramatic or, I won't remember this movie in 3D, but I didn't hate it either, and I didn't love it either. So this is like the perfect candidate for good 3D, where if you watch it in 3D, I think you'll be happy about it. You won't be in love with it, but you won't be totally disappointed either. So it works. So again, a good 3D for that score. Now onto the movie itself. As I walked out of the theater from watching the Angry Birds movie, I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. And shocked by this movie. I was stunned by the quality filmmaking, excellent animation, and gorgeous visuals. I was shocked by how much enjoyment I received from this movie. Movies based on popular video games are not supposed to be this well made. And I totally did not think this movie was going to be all that when I walked into it. The movie is centered around the bird named Red. Red struggles with issues of anger and is isolated from different villagers from Bird Island. It's actually pretty surprising how well developed the character of Red actually is. Many times the movie has flashbacks that give insight on who Red is and why he is what he is. And it makes Red a very funny, relatable, and likable character. And Jason Sudeikis' portrayal is very snarky and funny, and he carries this movie. I really like the main character of Red. Most of the characters here are characters from the games. This Angry Birds is from the mobile games. It first came out on the iPhone and then later on Android and everything else after that. But, it has pretty much a number of the major characters you use in that game. So this movie is basically about the first contact between the birds and the pigs. The pigs arrive from a nearby island and are more technically advanced than the birds, and the pigs are pretty likable. And but can they actually be trusted? So it's a pretty basic story here. Red meets other birds, and this adventure pretty much is trying to figure out what's happening, what the truth is, because the pigs seem really nice, but there's more to it than that. If you never played this mobile game, seriously, where have you been the last 10 years? But you won't really have any problems following the plot. Everything is fairly straightforward. Unfortunately, not everything is fully explained. Some birds have special abilities, like there's a bomb bird that could just explode, and another bird that could run at super speed, and so forth, and that's not really explained. Not really sure how or why they have special abilities, but whatever. It's just kind of left as a plot hole. And there's other plot holes here. I won't really want to spoil some of these plot holes because basically it boils down to being really convenient and ways to push the story forward. But the more you kind of think about it, the more you're like, hey, that didn't make sense. That's a little bit strange they just let that go. And, the movie does work, so I'm not going to totally rip it apart for plot holes, but there is some things that can be a distraction to adults. The kids won't really see the plot holes, and it won't really bother them, but the adults will be like, hey, that's something's up there. And talking about that, the movie does have a decent balance of having adult jokes, and scenarios and situations and pop culture references that will fly over the kids watching and make the parents happy. There's nothing too gruesome here, nothing too super nasty or adults or, sexual or anything too weird. But there's just, some jokes here and there that work. The movie at times can be very hectic, which, is just a sign of the times. A lot of animated movies can be very hectic, and this movie is one of those where you could just go from 0 to 100 in like 5 seconds and have a lot of clips and cutscenes. But at the end of the day, I actually laughed a lot and really enjoyed myself. It's both really funny, smart, and has a great heart. Honestly, before I watched this movie, I was pretty cynical. I was like, whatever, this is not going to be good. And, they're just making this movie to sell merchandise and more Angry Birds games and more toys and whatever. And I think most people are probably listening to this review probably think the same way. Unfortunately, that's wrong. Fortunately for the viewers at home or anyone watching this movie, you're in for a treat. This actually is a pretty well-made movie and is funny. And I'm going to be probably hated for saying this. Angry Birds movie is probably the best video game based movie ever created. I know that's not saying much from the video game based movies, but this actually works for what it is. Other video game movies such as Wreck-It Ralph or Tron, they're indirectly related to video games, but this is directly related to a video game, and it works. It's not perfect, a little bit too much dance scenes, a little bit too much plot holes, a little bit too frantic, but overall, I thought it was pretty funny. It had a good heart, and a good story, and good characters that are well developed. So, I like this movie. I don't love it, I don't think it's the best movie ever, but I definitely think it's worth your time. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. So yeah, good movie, good movie. I hope you enjoyed this podcast review. Alright, so that's going to wrap up this podcast.
Remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, love, whatever. Heart it, do something.
3D or 2D.com can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud. And if you want to send us email, our email address is email3d or 2d at gmail.com. And thank you again for listening. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.